right now I'm showing you like a little stupid thing that they had in the game. It was called Card Profile. You just open it. It shows you the, the playing mat and everything, and it kind of gets you sort of adjusted to the game, I guess, at least sort of like profiles, cards that you set down. It shows you like the technology. There really was no point to the card profile mode, but you can see I just set down a water woman. I forgot her name already. And she summons pretty fast. I mean, it's very interesting stuff. You can see I set down another monster here, and he summons somewhat fast. Now, the thing about this game was you needed good lighting. When I first got it, and where I had my PlayStation set up, it actually had pretty bad lighting, and it didn't work all that well, and cards wouldn't register or wouldn't summon. I got studio lights set up in this specific recording, so it's doing pretty well. You can see you can actually pick up the card, move them around a little bit. It's actually, you tap them a little bit, they start to like, oh, hey, don't do that, I'll hit my thing with you. And yeah, the thing about the card profile mode was it was really something that you just showed your friends when they were over, and you're just like, hey, check out what my PlayStation 3 does with the PlayStation camera, and people were like, oh my god, that's so cool. But of course it was like, man, let's get this to like be Yu-Gi-Oh or something, because people didn't want to learn a completely original new card game. But that's the thing about Eye of Judgment, which at least surprised me, was I didn't want to learn an original card game either, but it was actually pleasantly surprisingly good. I actually really enjoyed it a lot. So we're going to hop into a duel right now, which there were a bunch of options you could do. You could set up like battle animations, how long it was going to go on, mulligans, everything. You could also do computer versus computer, which, by the way, more games need to do that. Flashback to DBZ on the PS2, comp versus comp. So the game's about to start up, and I guess I'll walk you through a standard duel and how the game was actually played. There's 9 fields on the match. There's 9 fields that you can summon monsters. There's grass, water, fire. The middle's like the rebellion mechanical thing or whatever. And if you summon a certain elemental monster on the right elemental field, it gets a bonus. It gets an attack bonus. It gets a defense bonus or whatever. And the whole goal of the game is to summon 5 monsters. That's the goal of the game. The goal is to get 5 monsters on the field, which is like, okay, that's kind of a weird like goal, but realistically, it's actually pretty hard to do. It really doesn't turn into something fierce and something that becomes competitive. You can see the computer has laid down a Hellfire Spitter on the fire. He got a quickness bonus, a health bonus, and now it's my turn. And it's giving me the option to go. So I think for this draw, I had a lot of spell cards, so I had to work with what I got. And I have a green goblin dude, so I set him next to the forest field, right next to the Hellfire Spitters. I point it at the Hellfire Spitters to attack them and to get the battle animation going and to ultimately deal some damage. Now, the great thing about this game was it tracked all that stuff for you. You could play the game without Eye of Judgment. You could go buy these cards. You could go buy the booster packs if you wanted to and play it like that. But, the game really did all the heavy lifting for you. So, they've got 3 health. They deal 1 damage to me, which isn't much. I deal a text message, and I deal damage to them. And no one dies out of this situation, but this is early on in the duel. And the thing about Eye of Judgment was, like it had online. You could certainly cheat, by the way. This game was actually prone to cheating. If you're playing online, basically what it was is you can see I'm activating a spell right here to add more health to my goblins, by the way. The thing about this game was online, it made you like on-screen draw cards, so you had to look through your deck to find those cards that the game dealt you. But if you're playing like single player, I could certainly just cheat and look through all my cards and play whatever I wanted to play. The game also, you could print out the cards online if you had like a color printer, and you could certainly use those cards. People have attempted that, and it has actually worked. You can see right now the computer's actually doing quite well. I don't have any monsters in my thing. I've activated a spell, so I don't have enough mana to summon monsters. And they're in check right now. So they already have 4 monsters on the field, and I'm actually about to pretty much lose. If I can't summon something right now and get one of their monsters off the field, then I'm going to lose once he summons his 5th monster. And you can see at the bottom I just did a Fist of Anger. But here's like where the strategy comes in. Each monster has like a different sort of scenario of where they can attack, how they can attack, their defense, and their mana cost. So I summon like a wooden, like a forest elf girl or whatever, and her thing is her attack is a space above her, so she's not going to be able to attack the middle space even if someone was there. So now that these Hellfire Spitters only have 1 health left, all I need is 1 attack at them with the elf girls, and they're about to go down. Now the battle animations took forever, and realistically, if you wanted to play this game like for fun and you were like really into it, you turn the battle animations off, and I'll show you that in a second. Because the game moves so much quicker and it's so much funner if you just are really getting into it and you're really getting into the plays and stuff. But I really enjoyed it. It's like I said, it's a completely original card game. Sony also released one on. They released an Eye of Judgment game on PSP, and that of course didn't use any cards. And it had like a whole booster pack setup and everything. You can see I've summoned my 5th monster, and what the game does is they want you to complete the battle phase, basically, to make sure that after the battle phase is done, all your monsters will still be alive at the end of that phase. So they're asking for who I want to attack because I've summoned a mage, and a mage can attack anybody they want to at any point in time, with the proper mana cost, of course, mana. So I attack. It's not going to kill them, but it doesn't matter because that's going to be the end of the battle phase, and I'm ultimately going to win the game this way. So the battle phase is over. Didn't die, but now that all my monsters made it through that phase and it went to the computer's turn, I automatically won the game. And there you go. And it actually took a few turns, but I was playing on easy. Now right here we've jumped to another mode. This is battle animations off, and I'm playing against the computer on hard difficulty. And this is where you can see the game really kind of gets like fun. Like you can really get into it. And you know, growing up, for me at least, I did play card games all the time. I was totally a Yu-Gi-Oh kid growing up. Now that I've sort of matured, I guess it's not like I graduated from Yu-Gi-Oh certainly, but my one buddy wanted me to get into Magic the Gathering, so we bought Magic the Gathering cards, and I like that too. I was totally into it. I still kind of am. I still have those cards. I still have all my cards: Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic. I never actually played Pokemon though. I think a lot of people usually just collected Pokemon cards. But you can see hard mode is actually pretty difficult. The computer, I was in check. The computer summoning a huge Byleth monster dude, and he's gonna take out my red dude. So I only have 3 people. He dealt 4 damage. Like, this is where it gets really intense. Now the thing about the game was, I only had the starter deck, and when you bought the game, they only give you 1 booster pack. But there was a second set, and there was a third set of DLC you could buy, and then you could go out and buy physical booster packs. I think that's what Sony was really going for this game to be really popular. And you can see I actually win against hard mode right now. I got the computer in check, and the duel's over. Yeah, man, I really like this game. Sony tried to make it work, but it really didn't. The online servers are off. Everything's off for this game. But it was a really interesting game. I really liked it a lot. I met some of my closest PSN friends from playing online on this game, which was it was a really interesting idea. You could see what Sony was going for, but of course back then, like, the PlayStation 3 didn't have a huge install base. This game only sold like 300,000 copies, but I really appreciate what they tried to do here. They got Wizards of the Coast on board with this thing to sell booster packs and other starter decks. They had DLC for the set 1 and 2, or set 2 and 3. Eye of Judgment, man. Do you remember it? I do, because I owned it. Not many other people did. Hope you all enjoyed this Remember Me video. Like, if you guys really do like this idea, I'll keep doing it. But of course, submit games. Like, I